To film your animated sequence is quite simple, but kind of time consuming. This isn't the way the professionals do, but it's the way that we kind of have to do it here for now. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your camera set up on a tripod. You want to make sure it's steady, it's not going to move around, and in an area where you're going to be able to leave it set up for long periods of time. Basically what you're going to do, which you're going to be able to see here, is you're going to hit record on your camera and then take your object and move it a little bit and then step out of the frame. And move it a little bit more and step out of the frame. And so on and so forth until you have an object that moves. Of course, you have all of this footage of you moving the object, but in theory, you also just have the object moving on its own. So the next step is to come through and remove the clips of you moving the object. So you're literally going to come through and cut wherever we see you. Kind of helps to zoom in here. Now you don't have to worry about the shots with the object being 1 frame or 2 frames. Just worry about cutting yourself out of it. Now, one thing that I messed up on when I did this little demonstration is the fact that you can see my shadow. I don't know if you can notice that, but if you look right here, you see my shadow. Be careful about that, because what's going to end up happening is when I go to play this back, my shadow is going to be animated as well, and it's going to end up being actually really quite distracting. So just be careful as you're filming that you are really out of the frame. Your shadow, everything. Okay, so I finished cutting myself out of the footage. Awesome. But now if I play this back, it's super jerky and slow. And just, it doesn't quite look animated right. So the next step is to take all of these frames and make the shots the same length. So I'm going to hit Control D. And you'll notice that when I hit Control D, underneath my viewer window, it now has highlighted in blue the length of all of these clips. So right now I'm looking at 8 seconds and 21 frames. Okay, if we look at our time code, we have hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. So we really want to pay attention to the frames here. So again, I'm going to hit Control D, and then I'm going to decide how many frames I want each piece of movement of my animation to be. I like starting with 3. So I'm going to hit the number 3 on my keyboard, and you'll notice it automatically now just says 3 frames. And I'm going to hit the Enter key. And look at that. When I do that, all of the animation shrinks on down and makes everything 3 frames. So when I play it back now, it looks a little bit better. I can go back and I can make it maybe 2 frames or 1 frame. I can even adjust it so maybe sometimes it's moving at 3 frames, sometimes maybe 2. It all depends. Play with it. Now that I have that animation set, I want to make this chunk of video easier to move around and play with. Right now, I would have to remember to select everything, or the clips kind of come off one by one, and that's going to be really obnoxious to edit with. So I'm going to select just my bit of animation, and I just want to select scene by scene. So don't select all of your animation, just select, again, just a clip of animation at a time. I'm going to right click or control click and select new compound clip. And I'm going to name this animation 1, or anything that's just descriptive. Now you'll notice it's 1 shot. All right. And if I look up here, here's the compound clip up in my event as well. If I need to go back and make any sort of edits on it, I could double click, and it enters me into the compound clip. So now I can shorten the animation, I can do whatever I need to do.